Welcome to the Pass the Game Challenge. 6 developers make a video game, but no communication between them is allowed. This leads to some wild experiments and unexpected masterpieces. The theme for this episode is Souls-like. What will the developers come up with? Will we end up with Elden Ring's sequel or a broken mess? Let's find out, starting with the first developer.
Hey everybody, Saturn from the Indie Accord. I've actually had a Souls-like idea in my head for like a long time. You know how when you're playing a boss, you lock in and you start holding the controller really tight and you actually get like physically stressed out? I always thought it would be so cool if a Souls-like had a mechanic where you had to just let go of everything. And then when you did that, you became invincible. And then like a split second later, you grab again and keep going. So that was my baseline idea. I booted up Unity, I downloaded the official third-person template, and I just got to work. First thing, I added a roll, or a dash, I guess. Second thing, I added this boss with a simple attack. Next, I worked on the mechanic, which was basically like a parry. So I made it, if you let go of everything, you just are invincible for a split second. Then I added a bunch of boss attacks to try it out on. It worked, but there was no way to damage the boss. So I made it so that when you parry, you get this glowing light, and then you could fire back at the boss. I really wanted to tweak more, but I was completely out of time, so I threw it to the next person.
Me and my 6 viewers on Twitch worked on it together. So shout out twitch.tv/BigBewky. Haven't streamed in a while. Maybe I will soon. When we received the project, all I could really put together was that we had a boss battle, and the boss essentially just looped through a series of beautifully choreographed attacks. And we had a character controller that had walking, running, and a dash. Also, it looks like the last dev tried to leave me a note, so they cheated. All good, but they cheated. All good. All good, though, but they cheated. Anyway, I was able to look past that and started to take a look at some of the code. Object list. It's a good variable name, you know what I mean? What do you think that is, guys? A list of objects? Who knows? Oh, it's a one-liner, too. Oh my god, why? Game object, new object, bruv. Public game object prefab to spawn. Comment. The prefab to spawn. My initial thought was just to finish out the game loop of the game, but my chat wanted to do art. The problem with that is I'm not a very good artist. So we compromised and decided to model the player character, create a very basic attack, and add a weapon. My chat had some interesting ideas. We had magic wand, crutch, pan, and fishing pole. So anyway, we couldn't come to an agreement, so I threw him on a wheel and let God decide. Ladies and gentlemen, is a fishing pole a weapon? No. Is it a little quirky and cool? I'll let you be the judge of that. Anyway, this is the final product, right here in my hands, like this. Added a simple like bending animation for when we do the attack. After that, it was time for the hard part, which was actually modeling the player character. For this, my chat decided since we already have a fishing pole as the weapon, why not make the character an ice fisherman and essentially just make an ice climber. Again, is it creative? Oh, I haven't done 3D modeling in a really long time, and what I'm about to show you is my genuine attempt at creating a player character. Anyway, I think Jesus Christ himself was looking upon me that day because a chatter rolled in by the name of Core Activities. I did some Core Activities last night, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about? Shit, dude. Shit, dude. Some Core Activities last night, dude. Shit. Just kidding. Core Activities essentially walked me through creating the character we needed to make. And look at what we ended up with, dude. Look at that. That's a real character. It looks like an ice climber. It looks like a freaking ice climber. Anyway, at this point, I had to end stream and go to work. So I finished off the rest of my contribution off stream. Essentially, I just took the animations we already had, put them on our new character, colored the character in fishing pole, added the attack, and created a very basic, snowy environment, just so the next dev would know where to take it. Anyway, that's my contribution. Shout out BTP. Shout out Tice behind the scenes. Shout out my mom. Shout out twitch.tv/BigBewky. Peace.
Now, really quick note, 80% of our regular viewers have not yet subscribed to the channel. So if you subscribe and the channel keeps growing, we'll be able to create more of these collaborations and really ramp up the scale. It's a great support. Okay, with that said, let's get cracking.
Hey, this is Sam from Constellation Creative. Our contribution this time around was not cleanup crew. We were actually doing a little bit of addition and got to ideate on some concepts here. We wanted to add some elemental effects to the fishing lures. We found and created some good particle effects with that and added the ability to sort of cast the fishing lure out as an additional attack. We also brought together the UI a bit and added the bonfire system, and aspirationally, hopefully somebody adds some kind of stats system or some kind of leveling up system. It was clear this was inspired by Dark Souls, so we wanted to kind of push things in that direction if we could. You can follow us on YouTube, and we are going to be posting about the demo for our cooking card game adventure Flavor Tale very soon. Thank you.
Hey everyone, my name is Luke, and I'm a current video game development major, and I'd like to thank Blackthornprod for having me on. If you like my work, I'm currently working on releasing a new game on Steam called Lunar Elixir. It's a combination of a survival game with a tower defense game, if you're into that. I also have plenty of free games on my itch. It's lukedeldeo.itch.io. Anyways, let's hop into the project. The first thing I did was do a little research on roguelike games, and I came across two main features: fire pits to save progress and difficult combat. So after playing around the project, I realized that there wasn't really much to do. Since the player was holding a fishing rod as a weapon, I decided to make a fishing mechanic. So the first thing I did was create a hole in the ice for the player to fish into. I also made a small animation to make the water look a little more alive. The map also felt very large and empty, so I thought greeting the player into a small fishing area would be a good idea. You can see here when the player enters the fishing area, the rod will cast into the middle of the hole. Since I'm more of a programmer, I went to the Unity asset store and got some 3D models to make the fishing area look a little better. I then got into Photoshop to create some different fish types for the HUD. In the game's code, the player has 3 different attack types. It was ice, fire, and electricity, so I used that for the fish. I was thinking maybe the player can sell these fish for coins in the fire pits to save that currency when you're able to get to one. The player had nothing to save in their inventory or to use to level up, so I decided coins would be good for now. The game also only had a boss at this point in time, so I thought making a basic enemy would be smart. I created a snowball that will roll and follow the player to give the game some challenge while fishing. I also added the attack, which didn't previously work. Now when the player left clicks, it can use the ice attack. Hopefully a future developer adds in the last 2 attack types. I did add a fire NPC, but I did not have time to make it sell the fire ability. So now the player can fish by entering the fishing area and will catch fish over time, sell the fish to the fisherman NPC, and attack the basic snowball enemy that'll keep spawning out of the rock. I also made the player able to interact with the campfire, so now they can sit down when pressing E next to it. Finally, I added my cat to this little pet shrine up in the mountains, and thank you again for having me, and good luck to the next devs.
When opening the project, the first thing that I noticed was the visuals. They were just so flat, like everything was just a flat color. And when you combine that with this temporary map, which was hopefully just used for testing, it just didn't look that good in my opinion. So that's what I chose to work on. The snowball enemies reminded me a lot of the snowman guys from Super Mario 64, so I chose to move the project in a more retro style way. I added some post-processing to make the game look a bit less flat, and then a retro shader to the camera, which already makes the game look a lot better. New visuals won't save this map though, so I disabled it and began sketching out a new map. Then I began blocking it out in Unity using just cubes. After that was done, I modeled a big ice mountain for the level to take place on, taking heavy inspiration from the painted world in Dark Souls 1. Now, we can't just have the level be a bunch of cubes put together, so I modeled these 2 wooden walkways, some pillars and walls to replace the cubes, and used models from the other devs, like these rocks, trees, walls, and the little hut, for decorations and parts of level 2. And the most important thing of all, the bonfires. And with that, here's how the map turned out. Here is the full map. And yes, I did add out of bounds areas to the game, so you can't just escape off the map and fall to your death. And speaking of death, I added respawning, so now when you die, you teleport to the last bonfire you rested at. You might have also asked yourself, why is there only one fishing pond in the whole map? Well, it's so I had an excuse to add this. It's a shortcut which you can activate later in the level to give you access to the fishing pond. I think it's pretty cool. And some last notes. You may have noticed that I updated the HUD to fit more with the new art style, and I think it looks pretty good. But there is still the big question. Maybe I should have focused more on the gameplay between the player and enemies, but then we wouldn't have this cool ass mountain. Like, you know. I have a YouTube channel if you want to check that out. I post videos there, I guess. And hopefully the next step will fix the game. So yeah.
Hey everyone, my name is Taha and Souls-like is my favorite genre in gaming and Dark Souls is my favorite game. So I understood that I needed to tie some loose ends. So apologies to the previous developers if I removed your content. I took some notes, then went to my blackboard to ideate the genre tropes like the bonfire, you died screen. Then I created this to-do list. These two were the first ones that I've done, just starting screen and coming up with a title, Arctic Souls. Then I tried to fix the character controller. As you can see, the control is a bit more precise. We have a low jump and we have a high jump. When you lose your landing, as you can see, hop, I can still jump. Okay, that's basically what the coyote jump is. And the IK feet placement, it just looks cool. The feet just aligns itself. Then I tried to fix the fishing rod. As you can see, it doesn't dangle and we can cast it. We can retract it. Perfect. I used this free asset on the Unity asset store. Sorry for the flashbang. It's really cool. It has its own animations. I created 5 variations. This is the simplest one. It just indicates the attack, then attacks us. That's all. That's basically what it does. There are a couple more variations. Let me just kill this. I've also added one that attacks with ranged special effects. There is one that just jumps, then ground slams so that you fall off the ledge and so on. So I've added 5 variations. Then I've added a bonfire sequence. As you can see, just the player moves in the range of the bonfire and it automatically activated. It sits down, bonfire lit, that's all. I just replaced the model, the placeholder model with the slimes. And it just has the same AI with all the enemies, but it just jumbles all of the mechanics. Then yeah, it's the iconic health bar. That the shop currency and equipment variation, I didn't have any time remaining, so I couldn't do those. Yeah, that's basically what I've done.
How was your impression after all these devs? Did you expect it to go the way it did?
No, it's unrecognizable, which is good because my first one was like, it had a long way to go. I'm so cute. Character's like kind of in the middle, so it's hard to aim.
Dude, I can't believe the freaking ice climber is still there and the fishing pole. It's so sick. We got some ambiance and they kept my trees, dude. I put some those are my trees.
I really like the art style. I like the low res textures. I could not recognize my own base. Let's go. What am I doing?
Okay, the running animation's a little funny.
There was a spot where you could hold currency, at least on the screen, and I don't believe there was a way to earn currency. I know I had added something to be able to sell fish and stuff like that. Someone must have scrapped it, but a way to earn currency, whether it was defeating enemies or something along those lines, and a way to spend them, maybe upgrades, damage upgrades, or to get your stamina to refill quicker or something like that, is something that I would definitely expand upon.
Did they add like an active ragdoll? They definitely procedurally animated the legs. Look how they're stepping.
Oh, bye-bye. Got him. Ah! Indiana Jones. Dun, 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 dun.
I'm the one who scrapped the fish currency mechanic, by the way, Luke. Sorry. I was
No worries.
We caught him.
And
We
I
caught
was
him.
just tying up loose ends and I didn't have time for that. So rather than just having a shop that doesn't work or means nothing, I just scrapped it. So sorry about that.
No worries at all. Whatever you gotta do.
Honestly, this is like getting over it more than Dark Souls.
I really liked the fishing pole. I'm glad we got that through. I thought that was a unique
I love
point
that.
of the game.
Yeah.
Whoa, okay, it is an active ragdoll. That's sick. Kind of a good move for this kind of game.
I think if I was going to expand it, I would expand the fishing pole mechanics, and I think just combat in general, because it felt like that was the direction the game was going in rather than a fishing game. I mean, expanding those mechanics and bringing in some like different types of lures that do things, or could be interesting, like being able to like pull enemies into each other.
I'm stuck again. How can we Oh, I forgot. I'm just in the inspector. We do one of these. I'm the goat.
I think this game is in dire need of some kind of boss soundtrack or some kind of soundtrack. Right now it's just winds whistling in the background. I think like when the boss comes up or in the boss fight, music getting in with the players would be really cool.
Yes. Take that. Millennia is nothing compared to King of the Hill.
Rather than a Souls-like, it kind of feels like a platformer. And if we can just enhance those enemy variations, some kind of combat mechanics, it would be really nice. Because other than that, I really like the environment. I think the UI and the pixelated visuals fit the aesthetic as well.
I kind of agree that the combat could have a little bit more depth and the fishing hole could also be expanded upon. I think putting those two together is the real key to where this game was headed.
Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more awesome game dev collaborations. Stay tuned. Cheers.